and we should be live. Good evening, good people of the interwebs. Tonight I am joined by Ludicrous Leprechaun, and we're going to talk about the horrors, the absolute horrors that coronavirus is. And thank God there's a lockdown.
It's shocking.
But there aren't a lot of people here right now, so it says there's 3 people. I assume that one of them is me.
Paulo.
Paulo? Oh yeah, Paulo. Hey Paulo, hi there my friend. Hello my N-words. Neoliberals?
Nice people.
Nice people. Neanderthals. Neanderthals is a good N-word, to be honest.
Yes. Nincompoops.
Yeah.
That's an old one.
Not so nice though. Nuisance, also not a very nice N-word, but a nice N-word nonetheless. Hi there, my naggers.
It's going to take him a minute to get all this audio through. And there's another person that says, for watching.
For watching? Oh, we're growing fast.
MK.
Hey, Michael. Great. Hi there, my friend. Good day. He's working on a video, the video for the Swedish Air Force, blah blah, on what planes they're going to invest in. He has some great stuff. I really hope he makes it soon because I can only advise people to go and watch it. Just finished dinner. Had clams and shrimps. No, it's not bad. Oh, I'm not sure if you guys can hear it. If there's a constant hum in the background, it's my echo. It is fucking sweltering in the Netherlands.
Paulo's having the shrimp pills early.
Ah, yeah.
No, the shrimp pills are more powerful than the red pill.
Are they?
Well, that's the rumor.
It's still red.
More pinky. No, there was was it the doctor? No, it was Dr. Lehman had a big thing going on about 2 years ago where he was praising the shrimp pill because he was saying the mantis shrimp is one of the most powerful animals in the world.
Well, it can clap its fingers so fast that it will actually make water boil. Well,
yeah, I think break glass.
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. Amazing too, by the way, but that's a different story. Okay, let me see if this is a good way to do this. Let me see. Because I am going to see if I can change the background around a little bit. Because obviously the rabbits are all good and nice. I'm going to let the rabbits run. But I think people should see what we're talking about. And we're going to talk about the lockdown.
Now I have to say at the start of this, we have a rule against microbe aggressions.
Microbe aggressions.
Yes.
How much smaller than micro would microbe be?
Well, a microbe is something that's in the micro scale. The smaller than that would be nano.
I need to boost my microphone a bit, it says. Sorry, not it says, Michael says. I'm sorry, Michael. I thought, because according to OBS, my output is roughly the same as Ludicrous's output. Is it any better now?
That's going to take another 30 seconds.
Yeah, that is true. Well, might as well do this then. Where are you, microphone? Is this boosting my output? Is this boosting my output? See, the thing is, it's a new computer, and none of the stuff I had on my old computer seems to be working, which is really weird because it should be a better computer than the one that I had, but it doesn't seem to realize that. And I don't know how to boost it because it somehow doesn't want to be boosted.
There's no switch on the microphone itself. I mean, it sounds okay on my end, but I'm listening direct.
Yeah, well, the way it sounds to you should be how it sounds to them. And I have no way of boosting it. Or rather, when I boost it, I don't know if it actually gains strength because OBS doesn't say that it does.
Oh, I was just going to mention something in relation to what Paolo said in chat about shellfish protecting you from the beer virus. I sent I found a paper from about 10 years ago saying that aspirin interferes with coronavirus replication.
Well, I actually heard the same story about how nicotine might interfere with the coronavirus.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. Who knows? I don't, that's for sure.
I haven't done the research.
Well, I found it very interesting because it was an article not too long ago, and because of how do you call it, nicotine, certain receptors in the lungs don't seem to be hurt by by the coronavirus because they are on the same receptor wavelength thingy as the coronavirus is, and nicotine is faster, so nicotine goes in. Corona is too late, so it can't go in. So nicotine actually prevents the lungs from getting damaged by corona, or at least a bit. And in France, they're actually seeing if they can treat corona with nicotine patches.
Yes, that's blocker channel blockers, I suppose they're called. There's room for research there.
Yeah, it's funny that they do it though. Anyway, let's see how it'll.
Oh, we got another person. We got 5 watching now.
We got 5 watching. Well, maybe then we have to start getting serious or something.
Why change?
Why change? Yeah, why change a winning formula? I'm trying to boost my game, but I seem to be very unable to do so. Don't know why. Okay, so lockdown on one end of the screen and the chat on the other end of the screen and pieces of rabbits in between. I really should have thought of this better. But leave the subtitles on a little surprise.
What's behind the door?
Sorry?
What's behind the door?
Rabbits. It's the thing with rabbits. I mean, they're always there, man. They're always there.
It's Dimitri Boutros.
Hi there, Dimitris Boutris. Can't say I remember the name, but welcome to the chat. We are going to talk about how some people are more affected by the lockdown than normal people. Maybe I should say some people are more affected. Normal people are affected, but some people are more affected. It's a good way of saying it, right? I think it is.
Yes, we have to really look out for those people who are extra specially affected by this blight.
I should be talking in the right end of the microphone, Michael, yes. I'll see if I can turn it around and if it makes any difference. Is it making a difference? Yes, it is. No, it's not.
That seems a bit louder.
It's a louder... Okay. Well, alright then. Oh, wait, that's... Anywho, shall we start?
Yeah, why not? There's another one joined too.
It is almost Corona women most affected, but it's not quite Corona women most affected. It's
Snowflakes most affected.
Snowflakes most affected. That's probably it. Yeah. No, it was way too loud, but it should be better now, right? Because it showed red on my side. I don't know why it showed red on my side, but it showed red on my side. Oh, so many noises. I'm so bad at this. What COVID teaches us about male fragility. Yeah. Never mind the fact that men are most likely to die, but women most affected, and snowflakes most affected. Everyone is most affected. Shall we start with the first one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, which do you want to say is the first one? You can see what I'm seeing on the screen, right?
Hang on. Just bring up the right one. Hang on. You're looking at you got the MASC.
That's the one that I have open now. So which one? Do you want to go for the love lockdown? Or what it's like to be young, queer, and quarantining with blah, 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 blah? Or how racism is shaping the coronavirus pandemic? Pom, pom, pom.
I think we'll start with the love lockdown.
The love lockdown. Okay, I'm going to share this with the good people of the interwebs. Let me see if I can do that. Yeah, I should be able to do that, but that also means that you need to...
Yeah, we should have let the chat vote.
That's too late.
Yeah, we'll let them vote the next time.
Well, maybe. Love lockdown. There you go. Okay, what is it like to get dumped during a pandemic? Because obviously, having your heart broken is way worse when you do it during a pandemic. Are you familiar with the term media ecology? No, Demetrius, I'm sorry, I am not. But feel free to explain. For centuries, men were warning about the man flu. Now it came in the form of COVID, and now women who ignored man flu blame men. Yes, there is. Well, what's that? It's an old army saying. Ours is not to wonder why. Ours is but to do and die. And somehow it seems this is true for everything in the world.
Emphasis on die.
Yes. Get our daily newsletter. Why the hell would I want your daily newsletter, Refinery? For fuck's sake, we're going to make fun of your article. We're not going to take it serious. Oh, bloody hell. Go away. There you go. This brilliant article is written end of April, so the 22nd of April, by the smarter of people, Andrea Carr. Not sure if Andrea Carr is a boy or a girl. Could be both. What do you think?
Well, it could be both. These days, you get people.
You never can tell.
Change it one minute to the next.
I mean, sometimes a dick is not a dick. Don't know how that works, but I'm pretty sure it's true because they keep telling us that. Okay, so...
What if it's manufactured?
Yeah. The first time I heard the word coronavirus, my long-distance boyfriend and I were celebrating our 1-year anniversary in Mexico City. After a year, you're still having a long-year relation in Mexico City. Okay. It was the middle of January and we decided to skip presents in favor of an adventure we could add to our growing list. Amidst visits to the market and art galleries. What? They have art galleries in Mexico City. Art is not one of the main things I'm thinking of when I'm thinking about Mexico City, but I might be wrong, obviously.
Well, I've never been to Mexico myself, so I cannot confirm or deny the existence of said galleries.
No, fair point. And I don't think that Andrea Carr is related to Jimmy Carr, but I do think when reading this article, you'll have to laugh. Anyway, so it was the middle of January and blah, 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 blah. I texted my mum and mentioned that I was having trouble breathing because of the city's pollution.
I believe that.
Yeah, Mexico City. I'll believe that too. She told me about the new illness that was attacking people's respiratory systems. Concerned that I somehow contracted it, rolling my eyes, I assured her that she was overreacting. And then 2 weeks later, I died. Oh no, wait a second.
No, unfortunately not.
By March, the threat of COVID-19 no longer seemed so remote. Oh no.
The whooping cough strikes again.
Yes. I began to worry that the border between Canada, where I was, and America, where he was... Why the hell did they go to Mexico then? I mean, I live in Canada. My significant other lives in the United States. There are plenty of places in those two countries that are far more interesting than Mexico City. Am I wrong?
Well, I've never been there, but maybe they just like their guacamole.
Yeah, but the best guac you can get in California, which is, well,
She might not know that.
more or less in America. Not quite, I guess.
They're still trying to secede.
They should. Would be better for everyone in the world.
Well, maybe an earthquake might be better, along the fault.
Yeah, well,
Creating Arizona Bay.
I understand what you mean, but it's that's not so kind for the people who aren't useless in California, because there are a few people who aren't useless in California. Then again, they should be smarter and just move out. I didn't know that little Richard was still alive. Oh no, he died. Right, okay, well, see, did he die of corona, Paolo? Anyway, back to the article. By March, COVID didn't seem remote. I began to worry, blah, 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 blah. We already win here. He didn't share my fears, and we started fighting over text messages, phone calls, and FaceTime. Why were you starting to fight over it? Because you didn't agree with him on how bad Corona was.
Yeah, it's pretty much from what I gather. She wanted to, get closer to him, and he was saying, "Back off! I don't want to catch anything from you."
Fair enough. I don't think it's logical, but fair enough. I mean, if you love someone, you want to be with them, I think. But okay. I wanted him to show his love for me by racing to my side. He wanted me to relax and play it by ear.
So she was forcing the issue.
Yeah, that kind of makes Andrea a woman, right?
Yes.
We can all agree on that. We were arguing about our differing needs. Mine for closeness, and his for independence. And I'm like, I don't want to be rude, but you've celebrated your first year of being together in Mexico City, not at each other's home. See, the thing is, I believe in long-distance relationships. I believe they can work. But you have to have common ground as well, don't you?
Long distance relationships are difficult. They can be stressful depending on the two people taking part in them. But there is an understanding that long distance relationship means that one person is very, very far away from the other by definition.
Yeah, but doesn't that then also mean... I mean, eventually the whole idea of long distance relationship is to stop being a long distance relationship. That's what I think anyway. Yes, Dimitris, I am in the Netherlands. That is correct. So, I mean, I would say after a year that, yeah, maybe we need to think about whether we want to move in together or move closer together. So I can understand her a bit, but I don't understand what it has to do with Corona.
Well, I think that there may have been a few more to and fro in between them, so to speak, apart from Mexico beforehand. And now she's not getting as much, and therefore, because of the lockdown, and therefore she's annoyed. And then she gets pushy, and he gets annoyed.
And she assumed they were going to get married, and he apparently didn't. I don't get this. Just weeks before he dumped me, we started dancing to the bookshelf we built together during one of his many visits to Toronto. And I thought to myself, we've found our wedding song. Okay, fair enough. So they do spend time together.
Yes.
I mean, weeks before he dumped her. I mean, she's talking about how this is happening in...
January, about February.
Yeah, February. Because by March... he didn't want to talk with her. Now, weeks before March is February.
Yes.
I'm like, damn, that escalated quick then, didn't it? I mean, the same things, the same weekend, he ended things Canada turned upside down. And social isolation became the new norm. Non-essential business shuttered and all of my friends retreated into their homes with their husbands, partners and children.
Well, I think that she's looking at it a bit one-sided, because it wasn't just Canada that happened to. It pretty much happened to most of the countries in the Western world.
Yeah, actually, I can name 2 countries where it didn't happen, and that's the only 2 countries in somewhat the Western world I could name. South Korea and Sweden are the only 2. Yeah. I mean, South Korea still has some sort of regime, but they don't have a lockdown, and Sweden doesn't have a lockdown either. One. Sorry?
They never started one.
No, they never started one. And they're doing relatively all right. I mean, I know there are people who are thinking that they're doing just as good or just as bad as Norway, which isn't really true. Norway is doing slightly better than Sweden. Yes, Norway did do a lockdown, but in all fairness, Sweden isn't doing that bad.
But there's also a lot of distance between the major cities.
Yeah, but you have some major cities as well, and there are, within major cities, there are still problem areas. But those problem areas aren't as big as the problem areas in major cities of other countries, which is funny. Iceland and Japan didn't have lockdown neither. Okay, I didn't know that about. I think Japan did, but yeah, well, they didn't have a forced lockdown, but they had a voluntary lockdown. They advised people not to go anywhere.
Well, Japanese people are going to obey from the top down anyway. That's the makeup of their society. If they're told to lock down, it doesn't have to be law. They just don't do it.
Yeah, it's true that. Very different society. And from Iceland, all I remember is that Iceland was one of the first Western European countries to do massive testing of its populace, and then realized that, oh, you know what? The amount of people that had COVID is roughly 10 times as much as we thought, because it wasn't just up to 5% of the society that had COVID. No, 60% of society already had COVID. But they didn't get sick, because not everyone gets sick. So
what is it? The sickness rate is kind of like 0.3%.
Yeah, something like that. And the death rate is even lower.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though, because if you look at the map, everyone talks about the map where they keep track of all the corona sick. Yeah, but those are the people that are confirmed sick. And most of these people are confirmed sick because, it sounds like corona. And they go to the hospital, so it must be corona. The funny thing is, we were in the end phase of our last flu season as well. Do you know how many people have died of the flu in the last 3 months?
Well, I think that they've said 0 people have died of the flu and everyone's died of COVID, or?
Yeah. Though, on average, 8,000 people in the Netherlands alone die of the flu every flu season, roughly. Don't pin me down on that. But we have 0 flu deaths in the last 3 months. 4 months.
Yes.
4 months. Because they're all COVID now.
Yes, it reminded me of the statistic in New York. It said that 1 man is shot every 5 minutes in New York. And he's getting pissed off and he's telling people to stop shooting him.
Okay. That's funny. Yeah, that's funny. Anyway, back to the story. The same weekend he ended things Canada turned upside down. 4 million Canadians living alone. Physical distancing plastered a giant billboard across my world, and it screamed, "You are on your own." Can you imagine that this woman writes a scream shortened? If you would scream to someone, would you scream "you are," or would you scream "you're"?
No, it's a giant billboard that screamed.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's supposed to be a screen, seriously, would you scream "you are" or "you're"?
I think for more dramatic effect is you are on your own.
Yes, that's what I thought. And then
You're on your own, mate.
you're on your own. You are on your own. Sounds worse, doesn't it? Oh, you're on your own. Yeah, okay, I'll manage.
Yeah, get through it.
Through this pandemic, I would have no one to hug. Oh, for fuck's sake. Is this a feminist? It's something you found. Is this a feminist website?
I don't know if it's a feminist website. I just found this floating around. It was through MSN.com that it was posted. And I was laughing at it as I read it.
I mean, seriously. 4 million people are locked up in their own house and she's bitching because she's alone?
And she has no one to hug.
And she has no one to hug?
Thousands of people are dying and she wants someone to talk about her financials.
How the hell? No, seriously though. We're actually talking about this. How the hell?
Women worsting.
Women worsting, yeah, definitely. But to my surprise, I didn't sure there were plenty of mornings that I woke up with puffy eyes because she cried herself to sleep. And there were times I blamed myself, of course. I mean, I worried that at 32, all my good years were behind me. Well, guess what, love? They are.
They are.
Fucking hell. Listen, I can talk. I'm way in the back of the 40s now. Trust me, every year you go onward is a year you never get back.
Well, I've got a birthday next week, so I'm celebrating.
Ah. Yes, another year I didn't die. Bortus from the Orville. The Orville is a good show, though, so I'll take that as a compliment.
Yes.
What did your wife say? I couldn't hear. I could hear
Is
it
it
all.
still on?
Yes, we're still on. She want to join?
Well, I've invited her plenty of times in the past, but I think she wants to stay sit to one side.
Ah, okay. Well, in that case, shut up. No, that's not nice. My wife went upstairs, so she. I can talk freely now. Yeah. So, what changed? See, that's the thing, though. I mean, she's 32 and bitching and moaning that she's still alone. This is so much a feminist thing.
Well, no, it's more like a millennial female thing in general. I wouldn't say specifically feminist, but feminist
All
calls
right.
it.
Okay. Well, I'll take your word for it. She's depressed. I obsess about death and can barely get out of bed. But this time, I didn't feel hopeless. Okay, that's good that you didn't feel hopeless. So why could you barely get out of bed?
Just lazy.
Yeah. Well, after years of therapy and self-reflection, plus regular stress-relieving boxing workout and antidepressants, I finally found self-compassion.
Sorry, I can't keep a straight face whenever.
Is that self-compassion with one finger or two fingers? Sorry. Bloody hell.
The antidepressants are doing it most of the work.
Well, I mean, workouts and boxing can do a lot as well, but if you need antidepressants, then yeah. Even though I was tempted to minimize my emotion and think, suck it up, the world has more important stuff to worry about than your little breakup, which, by sheer coincidence, is true. I mean,
well, not just the global pandemic. You know, there are lots of other bigger things going on in the world than her little breakup.
I stubbed my toe, and somehow that hurts me more than her breakup. I know it's unfair, but fucking hell. See, that's the thing, though. Is the new world order really me? It's like the Swedish chef, the assistant of the Swedish chef of the Muppet Show. Everything is me, 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 me. Yeah, annoying.
Yes, everything is me, 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 me. Why don't you think about yourself for a change?
Yeah. Oh, well, does this go on further? Yeah, it does.
Just a wee bit. I think it's.
Breaking up during a pandemic also reinforced something that I already knew. Control is an illusion. Okay, there you go. But I'm sorry, isn't the whole idea of a relationship to relinquish some of that control?
I never learned that.
No, I'm seriously though. If you are in a relationship, do you want to control your partner? No, you want to let her go. You want her to stay with you because of her own
She
free
won't be
will.
with you.
Yeah. So how is that an equivalent of control? Isn't that the relinquishing of control?
Well, she was obviously pushing things with her boyfriend.
Yeah, she's the one for control.
Yeah.
But now she realized that control is an illusion. Fucking hell. That I'm relearning this lesson alongside the entire planet has made me feel less alone.
Why does she think that nobody else knew this?
Yeah, this is... It's so amazing. I mean, you know that I'm a social therapist, right? And that
Yes.
I've worked with autists for most of my adult life. Now, one of the problem autists have is that they have a problem realizing that what they know and what they might not be what everyone else knows or feels. It's called theory of mind. And apparently this woman has absolutely zero theory of mind. Because everyone else is experiencing the same thing she is, because obviously she's experiencing it. Therefore everyone else must be experiencing it too.
Yes, she doesn't quite understand that other people have different levels of intelligence and awareness.
Yeah, well, I'm not even going to say different levels of intelligence and awareness. I'm even going to say some people already finished that pancake, love. Fucking hell. And she's 32. Sounds like a whining 12-year-old.
That's an insult to 12-year-olds.
They'll get over it. But yeah, I can understand that. Of course, there may be other reasons why my mental health remains stable in recent weeks. I'm sorry, but after reading all this, stable is not the first thing I would call it. Bloody hell. And I don't want to make fun of people that have emotional and mental breakdowns, because they are real. They are real. But after reading all that, stable is probably the furthest from my mind.
The delusion of adequacy.
I've talked with people who were smack dam in the middle of a psychotic episode that made more sense than this. And you could still tell they were psychotic, don't get me wrong, but fucking hell. Whatever the reasons, I'm now entering my 5th week of self-isolation. I'm still surprisingly fine. I have a job as a freelance writer. Yes, that would make things sense, yeah. 2 little dogs. So you have some...
I thought you was going to say cats there, but
Yeah.
I lost the bet. It was dogs.
Yeah, well... Yes, she has not 1 dog, but 2 dogs. So how does she qualify that as alone? I mean, she has something to share her life with. It's not a human, but yeah. And the condo that has become my sanctuary. My therapist friends and parents in Winnipeg have been a source of strength. We've been taking on FaceTime and Zoom almost daily. See, that, don't get me wrong, I talk to my mother on Skype regularly as well. Then again, she lives on the other end of the Netherlands, so before this lockdown we also used to talk on Skype more than I would go there. But if I would give a list of people who make my life bearable, I'm not sure I would start with my therapist.
No, I was going to question that, but you got there before me.
I'm sorry, I'm taking all over the street. Well,
No.
go on. You go on for a while now. People have heard my voice, And obviously I'm funny, but so are you. So you
Well, I
are more
try.
funny than I am. You are. No, I mean you should. People should check his work, and I'm pretty sure the people in the chat already have. Hey, you're brilliant. I have to admit that I love the one with the mask as well. Pretty sure it's not the sort of mask you're supposed to wear, but it's a good mask.
It's come in very useful over the years.
Oh, I can believe that.
Let's see. So let me see. My therapist friends and parents in Winnipeg have a source of strength. We've been talking on FaceTime Zoom daily, connecting way more often than before. I think that's almost the end of it. I'm using this time to understand that even though I wish my boyfriend and I were still together, hint, hint,
Yeah.
I will survive. I will survive.
And even though I'm blah blah blah. I'm sorry. Go on.
I'd maybe even thrive without him, although I doubt it. I admit I'm tempted to plan Zoom dates with all the dudes that I match with on Tinder in my neighborhood so I can get a date every night of the week to try and help myself. But I'm going to rein myself in. So,
Well, there's nothing wrong with self-control. Something she seems to be lacking to begin with. So.
well, it doesn't say that she's not going to do that with all the guys in her neighborhood and Tinder. It just said she's tempted and she might do it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's the thing with wisdom. Wisdom knocks, but if you don't open the door, it doesn't come in.
Yes.
And in this case, it's quite clear that wisdom is knocking, but whether she will open the door or not,
When all is said and done, I want to use this breakup as an opportunity to focus on me and emerge from this pandemic with more self-love. I think we know what that means.
Yeah, one or two fingers. I'm not quite sure on that one.
Resilience and independence than ever before. And her sole purpose in life is to serve as a warning to others.
Yep.
I had to say that.
Yeah, it's. I think it's. If we go back to the beginning, where is it?
At the start.
I can't remember now. There was something here that was really funny. Fuck it. You know what? We've been over this one. Okay, the people at home haven't been able to read along with us, so you have to believe us that this is what she said. I'm not sharing it. Well, I am sharing it, so you can watch it, obviously. I'm not sharing it so you can start pestering these people. But in all fairness, feel free to laugh. See, there's the one thing that I found really interesting when I'm looking at this image. Because this image is saying something. According to this image, there are a bunch of people sitting alone on the top of mountains. Now, usually, you would think that these people were wise men because they're the hermit on the top of the mountain, right?
The fool on the hill.
Well, that too. You've got the fool on the hill, obviously. But what is stopping these people from coming down the mountain?
Well, she's in their way.
No, but, I mean, to me, this screams self-inflicted. To me, this screams, I have a problem and it's my fault. Don't you think this is something? I mean, I can't feel sorry for her.
No, I never felt sorry for her to begin with. You know, I'm just pointing and laughing at these. I thought it was entertaining for the most part.
Yeah, it was. Thank you very much. It was. Okay, which one shall we do now? What it's like to be young, queer, and blah blah blah, or how racist? Yeah, the young, queer, and blah 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 one. Now, as you can see in the top of my corner, you can still see it, right? Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
It has a very small Antifa symbol for the face. So apparently, the face is an Antifa website.
Which I didn't know. I wasn't aware of these whenever I started going through them. They just popped up on news feed, and I clicked in. I thought this is funny, and I have to laugh at it.
Yeah, well, this is something to laugh at, I have to admit, and it's unfair of me to, challenge the how do you call it, low hanging fruit. But yeah, there is, and Dimitros, I have to say, women are often drama queens. I'm not sure if it's just an act, but quite a few specific sort of women kind of are drama queens, and they want the world to apply. This is the whole Karen meme all over again, isn't it? I mean, you can't make fun of Karen because that's, what is it now? It's
Sexist,
yeah,
racist.
Karen equates to nigger, no problem. When you say Karen, you are just as bad as when you say nigger. Funny enough, when you say boomer, there's nothing wrong with you. Or gammon. Gammon is perfectly alright to say. But Karen, oh, you can't say Karen. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Anywho, what is it like to be young, queer, and quarantining with your family? You know what? I'm going to give the floor to you on this one.
Agreed. For some LGBTQ, LMNOP, AST, star, whatever, young people, lockdown means being separated from the ones who understand and support them the most. Social distancing is incredibly difficult for everyone, but it presents an especially intense challenge for young queer people quarantining with their families.
Meteor hits the word. LGBTQ most affected.
According to Dominic Amal of charity Just Like Us, LGBT young people are far more likely to confide in friends than a family member. Because of this, being confined to your family home when your family aren't supportive or even aware of your identity, therefore they don't know that you're being insulted by not using your personal pronouns, can mean you're separated from the people who understand you the most. And, the ones who do the most damage as well. Lukasz Konechka, is that the correct pronunciation? Of Mosaic Young Person Trust, which runs a queer youth.
I would know how to pronounce
It's
it.
Polish.
It is Polish.
Konechka. Well,
I
don't want to insult.
Konieczka. I guess. Hell, ask your wife. I can't ask mine.
She's
not
hiding.
here. Oh, okay.
She's hiding. It runs a queer youth group in central London. Says that 98% of the young people who get in touch express feelings of isolation and loneliness. And that's before.
Sorry, loneliness or loneliness? I had to make this joke. Sorry.
Potentially both. Yeah. But that was before the lockdown. He points out that the young queer people may be experiencing heightened online bullying. Then turn off the phone. Right now, simply because we're all spending more time online, then don't go online.
I never understood what's heightened online. What is online bullying?
Well, I understand if someone's messaging you repeatedly on Facebook or something like that, and then you block them. And then
that's the thing, though. Which online platform doesn't have a block function?
Well, Twitter didn't allow Trump to block people.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, this LGBTQ person isn't Trump. I'm allowed to block people. I've blocked one person. He was a specifically heinous racist, to be honest. He was an anti-white guy. I had enough of him real fast. Troll as well. Anyway, not talking about my terrible life. Let's talk about these people's terrible life.
Yes.
Then again, I could block him, so I didn't really have a problem with the bullying, I guess.
No. People need to learn to take control of their online space more effectively rather than blaming everyone else in the world.
Yeah.
But that's only my thought. This, combined with a lack of personal space, but they didn't have their own room, and parental presence in their parents' house that's overwhelming at best and abusive at worst can form a toxic cocktail that makes lockdown feel completely impossible. Because of this, Mosaic has moved quickly to take in usual face-to-face support services online. Here's three unicorns.
Yeah.
Unicorns.
I never understood LGBTQ, to be honest. I don't understand. I mean, lesbian. Okay. What's a lesbian? Well, a lesbian is a gay person that's a woman. Okay. Then there is gay. Oh, yeah. How is that different than lesbian? Well, one is a boy, one is a girl. Are they different? No, they're not, but we're calling them different. Then there is bi. Okay, what's bi? Well, that's a lesbian or a gay person who will also sleep with the opposite sex. Okay, so you're a lesbian or a gay, but you'll party with the heteros for once and again. Then there's a trans person. What's a trans person? Well, it used to be someone who cross-dressed. That's all it was. It was cross-dressing.
Transvestite, as opposed to transsexual.
But that's the T. It's the transvestite T, not the transsexual T. Is it? I don't know now. And then there's queer. What's a queer? Well, queer is a gay person. So LGBTQ is gay, trans, gay. So it's a GGGTQ. GGGTQ. Is it me that's overthinking this, or does it really not make sense?
No, it doesn't make sense, but they're trying to make it make sense, and that's the problem.
Yeah. Anyway, this is the one part that I found really funny.
Yes. So we'll try and work through this. Charizard. It's a Pokemon.
I thought charcoal.
Identifies as non-binary, masc, and bisexual. And we looked beforehand, and the abbreviation masc could be masculine. It could also be Municipal Association of South Carolina. What was the other one? The
Member Associated Stress Consultant?
No, it's definitely not that.
I remember the one that we both thought that was, this makes sense. And
Yes.
I have to look it up, obviously, because I haven't selected it. Master of Applied Science, by the way, but I don't think that's what she meant either.
No.
But multi-angle snowflake camera.
Yes, that was the one.
That was the one.
Now, we have to admit that I do think that this person could be a multi-angle snowflake camera. Now, I want you all to vote in chat if you think that's correct.
What do you think? Is it multi-angular snowflake camera, where camera obviously is silent? Oh, mission and safety critical. Okay, fair enough. Multicost address set claim. I don't know. Anyway, back to this. We will see what you have in a moment. But mission and safety critical is also funny. Yeah, it is.
I'm currently off from college and living with my family, which is 4 others, and it's a bit uncomfortable because I hate my family. I'm only out as bisexual to my mum and sisters because my dad is homophobic and will beat me up and throw me off the top of a cliff. Every time he even hears the word gay, he's grossed out. Is that really homophobia, or is it just basically, uncomfortable?
Human nature?
Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm not out to my family gender-wise.
Yeah, because they don't know that she's a girl.
No. So I have to deal with that as well. The hardest part is probably the dead naming and them not using my correct pronouns. Now, you have to say, if your dad doesn't know that you're this, how are you going to blame him for not using your correct pronouns and for dead naming you?
Well, that's another thing. You know, the thing with pronouns, and I always mention this, and people always seem to march over it as if it means nothing. But you can be he, she, or whatever. I don't care. When you're talking to your wife, how many times will you talk to her, with her, whilst mentioning her as she? You
She who
mention
must
her
be obeyed.
as you.
She who must be obeyed.
She who must be obeyed. As the whip cracks. But seriously though, when you're talking to someone, and you mention that person in the conversation you are having with that person is you. It's not he, she, or whatever.
It's easier.
No, but I mean, seriously though, imagine my binary is master, which it is. I made a video about it some time ago. I identify as master. So when you address me when I'm not there, I want you to use the surname Master. Not he is, Master is.
Yes.
But when you're talking to me and you want to ask me something, you don't have to say Master. It would be nice, don't get me wrong. But you can also say, hey, would you want some sugar with that? and then yes or no. I mean, you don't go into a chip shop and you want some mayonnaise with those chips, sir. No.
Well.
Do you want this or that? Yes or no? Yeah, but I identify as a woman. Who fucking cares?
It's ma'am.
Who cares? Do you want this or not?
Okay. You like this sentence then? It feels unfair to be upset about it because I haven't told them I'm non-binary.
Yeah. I'm upset about them not realizing I'm non-binary, but I didn't bother mentioning it to them. They should bloody well read my mind. Fucking hell. But this is the whole theory of mind thing. I know it's true, therefore they should know it's true.
I haven't told them because I know they won't respect it anyway.
Well, okay.
I mean, you have to agree with that. You have to understand. I mean, like he, she, zero understands that they're not going to respect it, and yet they're upset about it, but they haven't told them. So it's kind of a catch-22.
I think this is the great thing about assuming. When you assume, it makes an ass out of you and me. Or in this case, it makes an ass out of you and Xur.
There's literally nowhere to go if anything goes wrong. Usually I have friends I can go and stay with if I have to. But with this pandemic, it's basically impossible to go anywhere.
You see,
Bloody COVID.
The thing is, when I was 21, I lived in a 3-bedroom flat by myself. I had my own pad. I worked, got me food, paid my bills. How old were you when you started living on your own?
Well, I was in residence in uni at 18, and then I got a house sharing with others. The next year, I was at university, and since then, I've never lived full-time with my parents.
So, here you have someone 21 bitching and moaning that she still lives at home. But she's not bitching and moaning that she still lives at home because that would implicate that she's responsible. No. She's bitching and moaning that her parents don't understand her the way she wants her parents to understand her, even though she never told them, and it's their parents' fault.
Oh, you like this part. I'd say my mental health could be better right now.
No kidding. Bloody hell.
I'm a huge extrovert, and I miss socializing with my queer friends so much. The straight friends, not so much. I've been getting stoned a lot, which helps.
In In psychiatry, we call that self-medicating.
Yes. And the things could definitely be worse, so I'm trying my best to look at the bright side of it all. But what this person is basically leaving out is that they are living in their parents' house, probably rent-free, in this COVID situation, and they're just complaining about it
Yep.
and bitching that nobody's using their proper pronouns.
Oh no, look at me.
You know,
People take care of me and they don't ask me anything in return, and I want to bitch and moan about how they are not taking me into account, even though they pay for everything in my life.
tell me in chat that that's an unfair characterization.
No, I pretty much think you're correct. Hi there,
Hi,
Renovasio.
Renovasio.
I identify as late. Yeah. Late as in not on time, or late as in previously known?
Or dead.
Yeah, well. Was I too, how do you call it, colourful? Or the late Renovatio? That sounds
Make it sound like a TV show.
true that.
let's go on to a pixie.
Yes, Pixie. I mean, seriously. Now, I know there was a band called, what was it?
Pixie Lot?
Sorry?
Pixie Lot?
No, that was a different one. Punk band in the 60s, 70s. But I can't remember the name now, so that makes no sense. Pixie something.
Okay, so this is confusing. Pixie identifies as trans, non-binary, and agender. So if you're not transitioning from one to another, then how are you trans?
But that's the thing, though. I mean, she identifies as a non-binary. How can you be trans non-binary?
And agender.
And agender. I mean, being trans means you're going from one to the other, right?
Yes, transitioning from A to B.
And agender means that you don't want to be either. So she is twice saying she is something she's not, and twice saying she's neither. With only 3 words.
Well, no one accused them of logic. I've come out of my student accommodation, and I'm
Okay, Renovatio.
and I'm back with my mum and sister in the small village where I grew up. I'm out to both of them, but my mum doesn't understand my identity very well, and she doesn't use my correct pronouns. She just tells me, yes, you can stay in this house as long as you need to during this COVID pandemic. Don't worry about paying rent. Don't worry, I'll get you food, etc., etc. She's just not very respectful about things.
See, that's the thing, though. How come it's her mother not being respectful of her wishes? Why is she not disrespectful of her mother's wishes? I mean, let's be honest. I gave birth to a lovely baby girl. What the hell are you? I could understand parents saying something like that, to be honest. I mean, they're talking about how they need their parents to respect them. Yeah, but isn't respect a two-way street?
No, well, it gets better. I'd like to have a conversation with her about it, but because we're on lockdown, I don't want to take the risk.
Seriously, though. I mean, her mother is basically a meal ticket.
Our house is really small, so it's hard to escape to a different room. But there are different rooms.
Apparently.
If you ever worry about anything. And when I try to bring it up, she tends to be quite dismissive about it, as she should be. It can be difficult talking to my queer friends on the phone or Zoom because the walls are pretty thin, and being sexually aroused, can gross out my sister and mum.
Yeah, well, you could wear a headphone, can't you?
Well, they can't. The mum and the sister can't. But he could, or she could, or
she could.
Whatever.
It could.
It could. But at least I know I can massage them privately. Oh, message. Message to the brain. I know some parents will. What? Okay, sorry. I know some parents will like monitor their kids' phones, so I'm really grateful my mum never tries to do that. Well, you're 18, so you're not really a kid anymore. So you've got rights that your parents aren't allowed to do that anymore.
Well, my rules.
But you wouldn't go check your 18-year-old's phone.
I don't think I'd have to. So yeah, no, I wouldn't. But
You know,
I mean,
this person is an adult, so legally they have standing. If someone interferes with their property, there are mechanisms to deal with that.
yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
I think that I'm fine. Well, I think what I'm finding hardest is going from living in London. You can see the problem here
Yeah.
with people who really know who I am and always respect my pronouns.
Wow, where in London is that?
To being stuck in a place where I don't feel entirely welcome.
Because I know plenty of places in London where you can't even go out and have a ham sandwich during the day. Am I wrong?
No.
And I'm pretty sure that if you can't have a ham sandwich, you can also not identify as something else.
Yes.
I
Well, you can identify, but you won't be there much longer to enjoy it.
yeah, they're not going to be too friendly about it.
No. My mum's present all the time in her own house. How dare she?
Dirty. Fucking hell. How is it?
During lockdown, and it can be quite suffocating. Normally, when I'm home for the holidays or whatever, I'd bounce between friends' houses. I bet you do. But I'm not able to do that right now. Yet because of the pandemic. There's any comment from that in in chat? Any prologue on Pixie?
No, I can't. I can't find. There was a band with Pixie in it, but I can't remember, and I can't find it because I have a look at Pixie, and yeah, it suggests me a lot of things, but none of those. It was in the same time as Sioux and the Banshees, so what is that? Late 80s, early 70s, something in between.
Roughly around then. There was a time I didn't really listen to the music scene at all. I just blanked it out. So, so
Yeah,
do we want?
I can't find anything now because. Yeah, continue. You wanna do Danny?
Well, I'll let you do Danny.
Okay.
You can take the trans.
Danny identifies as a trans woman. Or maybe I should say, Danny identifies as a trans woman.
That's mom.
It's mom. I live with my parents anyway, but I'm with them constantly now. Wait a second. You already live with them and you're complaining that you live with them?
Yes.
No, but seriously, I mean, the other two still had something like, oh, well, because of the coronavirus, I had to go back home. This one is like, no, I lived there forever. I'm still living there now, but it's not fair. Fucking hell.
Then get a job, go somewhere and move out. You're 19.
Move out. You're 19, for fuck's sake. Wednesday is usually a day for me. I go to Mosaic in central London, and I have a whole routine of getting ready before I go out. What, as in OCD? I really love that time because I get to pick my outfit and express my artistry with my makeup. Oh my god. But now, my mum and dad are off work. I don't have the freedom one day a week just to be me. No, listen. Your mum and dad are really pleased that they're home off work because everyone wants to have the insecurity of not making money. That makes them feel good. But no, it's more terrible for you because you can't fix your makeup.
No.
Hell.
You see, Modwain, you don't understand what you're dealing with here. You're dealing with a trapped trap.
Trap.
Oh my god. I know I'm lucky because my parents have been really supportive. Wait a second. So they are aware of this and they are supportive of this.
So what's the problem?
So what's the problem? I came out to them as bisexual 3 years ago and a trans woman 2 years ago. And
When she was 17.
yes, and last year my parents were like, okay, what is it this time? And I said nothing. So yeah, they're still waiting for the next big reveal.
Two-spirit.
To spirit. But like most parents of trans kids, they still get it wrong a lot. Hey, what do you want? I mean, something completely made up with no sets and rules and boundaries, and people don't understand it. Who the thunk? One positive thing about this situation is, because I'm home all the time now, they're getting more used to calling me she. If they misgendered me at the moment, it's usually just the once and they use she for the rest of the conversation. But seriously though, when they're talking to you, are they talking to you as she?
Well,
Because
no,
that's something. I mean, when you're talking to your wife, you still call her you.
yes.
When
Or-
you're talking to your brother or father, you still call him you.
Yes. I
So-
mean, like, did you ever hear that song that came out, the cover song, Don't You Misgender Me?
Yeah. I haven't heard it, but I can imagine that one. No, but seriously though, when would her parents accidentally say he instead of she
When she's not there.
when she's there? And when she's not there, she doesn't know. I mean, I can completely see this happening.
Well, obviously they're having a conversation between themselves, and she's eavesdropping, which is rude. And to hear, she hears them saying he, and then she stands up, storms out.
But I mean, I could really see this happening with mom and dad in bed. Well, do you think she's listening? No, I don't think he can hear us. Bloody hell. I really hate being away from the LGBTQ people. I'm very sociable and I love seeing my friends. But how are you very sociable if you're only hating to be away from some people?
You see, it's overcompensation, and it's low self-confidence and insecurities bleeding out of this article left, right, and center.
Yeah, well, that's true. It's so lovely to go into a safe space where you can be yourself all the time, just sitting and having a cup of tea with someone who understands you and won't misgender you is a big deal. Hey, wait a second, what is your gender? Because I've been seeing a lot of you in this sentence as well. Is you a gender? No, it's not. You know what? You want a safe space? Commit a crime, get locked up. It's called
But
jail.
then again, that's not very safe.
Well, jail is pretty safe.
Well, I suppose for all those transgender guys being put in the ladies' prison, that can be quite fun. But
Yeah, that's true in England. That's true. Stupidity all around. For help or information, visit Mosaic.
oh, you missed that last sentence. For me, it's a place where I have less fear than in the normal cis het world. It's like a community within the LGBT community, and that's what I'm really missing right now. Which is missing our cult. It's
All
cult.
right.
It's the cult's fault.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Get a job. Get your own house. Stop whining. You can be whatever you want to be. It's your own house. But be responsible for yourself. I'm going to gamble that's not going to happen anytime soon.
No.
I'll probably win that gamble, so there's probably no
Yeah.
one taking that bet. But yeah, that's pretty It's look at me. I'm so hurt by this whole situation. What's the problem? Well, my parents, they're nice and they're respectable and they understand it and they don't say anything negative, and it's still not good enough. Basically, that's it. My parents understand me. They try to live up to my expectations.
And try to support me?
And they try to support me. And here I am bitching and moaning.
Because I can't get to my cult.
Because I can't get to my cult. Where I can get my own tea and they won't misgender me. I can imagine working behind a bar in one of those places. And as bartender 1 talking to bartender 2. Which she are you talking about? Well, it's the stupid one with the hair shifted like and the face painted on like it's the Joker, but she didn't know what day it was or something like that. I mean, can you imagine working in a place like that and not make fun of these people?
Well, I'm always tempted to do things like that, but I try to control myself most of the time.
Yeah, I can't make too much fun of them at work either. But then again, the ones that I talk to do have issues, but they also recognize that the issues are with them.
Yes.
Here we are. The last one actually talked about how his parents or her parents are to blame, even though they're doing everything they can to make her life easier.
Yes.
It's beyond
despicable.
Oh. Anyway, I think we've gone this one then.
Yes, the last one is how racism is shaping the coronavirus pandemic.
Yeah, because there are more more black people dying the world over than anything else.
Now, I'd actually made a comment on this in the Discord earlier, so I'm just going to put the quote in that it said, the whooping cough apparently affects BAME at 4 times the rate as whites. The UK is the highest rate of flu hand death. Germany is reporting the lowest. Therefore, the reason for these deaths is because the UK has taken in so many people of colour, while Germany had ethnically cleansed them out about 70 years ago. Any thoughts on that?
Well, unfortunately, I would say you'd be correct if it weren't for the fact that Germany has done everything it could in the last 40 years to be the master of migration. They opened the border so often and so far. Listen, the biggest problem Europe is facing right now, the migration crisis, is because of Germany.
Oh, I'm aware. I just thought it was funny.
Ah, okay. Well, it was funny. It is funny. But in all fairness, if we're looking at the population numbers, I think Germany has more BAMEs than the UK.
I don't know. They may have had a lot of immigrants, but they may have moved on.
No, actually, there were 2 countries they wanted to go to, Sweden and Germany. So I don't think they moved out of Germany fast. But, be that as it may, I seriously think that one of the main reasons, and it's kind of funny because Sargon made a video about it. At the time, I was working on a video on it. I decided not to finish it because I don't want to copy Sargon, so to speak. But black people had this meme going around how they could not get corona. Well into April and end of March, beginning April, you could still see black people tweeting out or having videos about how they could not contract the coronavirus. It was a white man's problem, not a black man's problem. So they didn't do lockdown, they didn't do careful, they didn't do anything to make themselves a little bit healthier, and then they start dying.
So what you're saying, they didn't do nothing?
They didn't do nothing, that's for sure. Eventually the alphabet people divided themselves to such an extent, each individual had their own label. The world then told them all to fuck off. Well, yeah, maybe we should tell them a bit sooner than that. No, but I mean, I read the article, and I think where was it? I'm not going to read it all over again, because this is about America, right?
I believe it's America-centric, but I've seen bits and pieces coming from all over the place.
Well, yeah, the UK is also bitching and moaning how black people are the biggest problem. But okay, there's this. Evelyn Hammonds, who chairs Harvard, blah blah blah, she wrote History of New York's Attempt, blah blah blah. I think it's a bit further on. Hammond's area of expertise is especially relevant today. While the data is incomplete at this point, African Americans represent nearly a third of US deaths from the coronavirus and 30% of the COVID-19 cases. Now, funny enough, my math is terrible, but I'm pretty sure that nearly a third is 30%. So about 30% or a third of the COVID cases in New York are black people, and the amount of people that die, again, are nearly a third.
Yes.
But only 13% of the population are black. Yes, but only black people didn't feel the need to protect themselves.
So 1350 is important now.
No, 1350 is never true. But a third, 1330. Oh yeah, no, that's very true. You can't make this shit up. You can't make it up.
They either have to have it one way or the other, but they can't have both. But they want to.
But I mean, I've seen videos of police trying to break up parties, street parties, whatever, of black people. Huge groups of black people. Yeah, no, I know, Michael Keller. 30 is less than a third, but she didn't say it's a third. She said nearly a third. Well, 30% is nearly a third. No, but I mean, they were breaking up parties and whatnot with black people. And now they're like, oh, well, but we're more affected. Yeah, no, you caused to be more affected. I mean, let's be honest. I jump off a flat and then I fall to my death. It's white people that are more affected by it. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have jumped off the flat then, for fuck's sake. If white people would have done the same as black people had done, then guess what? The numbers wouldn't show that black people are more affected. The numbers would show white people are more affected. Which is also not true, by the way, because the most affected people are still the Chinese. But yeah. It's kind of funny though, because in America they're complaining about how black people are most affected. In China, black people are being forced to live on the street because they are considered the cause of the pandemic. Now. Not originally, but they are now. I'm sorry, it's quite annoying that people kind of try to play this race-baiting bullshit all the time. And they're actually... I mean, I'm not sure what pisses me off more. This or the LGBTQ nonsense.
You clap for me now.
Yeah, I made a video about that one too. Immature response agree. Also, the youth are not taking it responsibly childish. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not in favor of the lockdown. But not being in favor of the lockdown and having no problem with people being all huddled together in a party, those are two extremes. I think people should be able to do what they want, but they should also... How do I
Take
phrase
responsibility.
this? Thank you. Take responsibility. Think about what they're doing. Because in all fairness, what we do will affect our life.
Yeah. There's lots of people who are either shoveling too much responsibility on their shoulders or not taking enough responsibility.
Now, I have read the rest of it, but in all fairness, I think we've said it all. Do you want to continue with this one?
Well, I think that we may have to kind of finish up shortly anyway. So, but I think we can leave the articles in the description if people want to go in and read the entire thing of it. But I was just kind of pointing out because we spent a lot of more time than I thought we'd spend on the first two. But I was kind of trying to point out, basically the stupidity of race baiting, blaming everything on race. Basically they're trying to distance the effects of people who have bad diets, people who have certain predilections to certain conditions. They are basically saying there is no way possible that people of different color could have different genetic makeups, which make them potentially more sensitive to this specific virus.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's stupid. But enough with that. I'll link in the
The articles.
yeah. I have to do that now, obviously, because I removed them there already. But yeah.
No, I just find it silly that on one hand they're saying that the majority of the NHS workers in the UK are black American minority ethnic. And then on the other hand, they're saying the NHS is racist towards black Asian minority ethnic.
Yeah.
So is it BAME being racist against BAME?
But you're not supposed to think about it. You're supposed to say, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Can I have some more, please, sir? That's the whole thing with the whole bloody, how do you call them, political correct bunch. You don't think about what they're saying. Because the more you think about it, the more you notice it doesn't make any sense. And they don't want you to notice that. It's,
Well, I've given up listening to mainstream news years ago. So
yeah. I can't blame you for that. I think most people have, to be honest.
unfortunately not. That's the cause of our problems.
Well, I don't know.
They're getting there. They distrust them a lot more, but distrusting is not exactly the same as binning them.
No, okay, fair point. Fair point. It's still, I don't know. The oikophobia. Sorry, no, yeah, I'm moving the microphone a bit from time to time. Sorry, Mike. Michael, not Mike, Michael. But the oikophobia of our current society is amazing. There's a reason why we are facing the problems we are facing. And one of the reasons, in my humble opinion, surely is that we are not respectable towards our own culture. And it's not about letting other people in or not. I mean, I know people like to think that's an issue, but that's not the issue. The issue is we should be respectful of our own society, our own culture, far and far more than we are now. And if people from other cultures want to come in and live with us, and if they want to be, I don't know, snowflakes or not, I don't care. But then if you want to be the exception to the rule, stop bitching and moaning that you're the exception to the rule because you put yourself there. Don't expect society to turn towards you because you're the exception to the rule. I don't know. And the worst part is, if you look at this whole racism bullshit, most of the people complaining are white. Why the hell are they complaining?
Guilt. The guilt's been turned up on the white population quite significantly.
But what are we guilty of?
Everything. According to the media and those trying to control the narrative. The problem is that you can only rely on pushing a button so long before a button wears out and breaks and it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
So My problem is, I'll let you get in a sec. My problem is that if the population stops feeling guilty, that's going to cause a lot more problems in the long run for those minorities.
I mean, I don't feel the need to make life hard for the minorities, but I also don't feel that I need to step on my toes, stay on my toes, to make life better for them. I mean, when my father came to the Netherlands, he was a minority. He worked for himself. He managed to achieve. And I don't want to be rude, but if he could, why can't the new minorities? And if the new minorities can't, well, that maybe says something about them, not about our society. My father came to the Netherlands at the end of the 70s. Sorry, not the end of the 70s. The end of the 60s, the early 70s. I mean, I'm born in 72. So he must have been here already, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to tell me that our society now is more racist than it was back then. But back then he managed. And people now can't manage? I'm sorry. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. And we keep expecting it. Oh no, yeah, no. Yeah, but white people have it so much worse. Oh yeah, no, white people did so much bad things. Oh yeah. Oh, did you hear about? Oh yeah, what Hitler did. Oh yeah, Hitler. Oh. Okay. So when we look at other places in the world, what bad things happened there? Yeah. Well, but that's also the white man's fault. Seriously. India got overtaken by Muslims in the, 14th century? A little bit before that. Millions of people died, were murdered. White peoples are to blame, are they? Yeah, but that's not... Sorry?
They don't count.
Yeah, well, it's only Indian people that died. And when the British came there, well, the British people killed a lot of... Yes, the British killed a lot of the Mughals. Funny enough, the Mughals were the ones that killed the Indians. There's a reason why the Afghans still talk of Britain in the most negative way possible, where the Indians tend to not be so negative about the English. The Afghans are descendant of the Mughals, the Islamic part of India, where the rest of India isn't. And somehow, that too is the white man's fault.
Well, I'm stepping out of the guilt train, and I've had enough.
Yeah. Oh well. Time to call it quits?
Yeah, I have to head off.
Okay.
Thanks for streaming with me.
Yeah, you're more than welcome, mate. You're good fun. I like
I hope
having
the
fun.
I hope the rest of them enjoyed it too. I don't know.
I think they did. And if they didn't, they should have said something. Well, they mostly complained about my microphone, so don't worry.
Yeah, we got 5 thumbs up.
5 thumbs up out of 6 people. Yeah, logical, because I didn't thumb it up. Anyway, that kind of does mean that we're going to call it quits. Thank you all for coming. Ludicrous, any last words?
Stay well and be happy.
And I hope to see you all next Wednesday. Dimitros, thanks for joining us. I hope you'll join us again. Michael, thanks. And I really look forward to seeing your video on the Jets Renovatio. Better late than never, mate. And Paolo, see you next time. And this is where I'm going to push the button and I
Ciao,
stop
everyone.
talking.